Hello students, in today's class I am going to explain about secondary sexual characters that take place both in boys and girls. Why these characters are called as secondary sexual characters? Because these characters or features help to distinguish, to differentiate the male from the females. That means these characters particularly take place in boys and some characters particularly take place in girls. If you see the slide here, we can see the man has facial hair. We call it as beard or mustache. At the same time, hair growth takes place on the chest and thighs, and his muscles will be building more stronger. His voice becomes hoarse, and at the same time, the testes, which are the main reproductive organs, they also grow in size and become functional. That means the testes will produce a male hormone. That male hormone is called testosterone. The male hormone is called testosterone. That male hormone, once it is formed by the testes, so naturally the testes start to function and produce gametes. That is, sperms are released. As we have learnt in the reproduction in animal chapter, testes are the reproductive organs in males which help in the formation of or production of male gametes called as sperms. So these characters take place only in males. On the other hand, the girls, if you see, the development of breast will take place. That means the breast, where the development takes place, in the breast, the glands called as mammary glands are present. These mammary glands help in the production of milk. So milk secreting glands are called as mammary glands which develop inside the breast. That's why the size of the breast will increase. Whereas in males, the breast development doesn't take place. The mammary glands in the males remain functionless. They don't grow in size. They don't produce any milk. So breast formation doesn't take place in, that means breast growth does not take place in males, but development of breast happens in girls because of the milk secreting glands or mammary glands producing milk. So all this development that occurs in girls, such as development of breast, widening of region below the abdomen. Abdomen means stomach region. Below that region you can see hips. We call hips. That region will increase for girls. The voice becomes sweet and shrill, and at the same time the hair growth will occur in pubic parts. Pubic parts means private parts. Whereas for boys, the hair growth takes place on the face, on the chest, on the thighs, even in their private parts or pubic parts, we say pubic hair growth. So these changes occur because of certain hormones. I said hormones. What are hormones? Hormones are the chemicals that are produced by some glands. That glands are called as endocrine glands. The secretions of endocrine glands are called as hormones, which will help in the development of sex organs. That sex organs in females, they are ovaries. So ovaries start functioning by producing the egg or ovum, or we also call it as female gamete. So these are the characters which differentiates the boys from girls. So that's why we call these characters as secondary sexual characters, and these characters are developed because of certain hormones. That hormones are produced by glands, endocrine glands, and testes is one among the endocrine glands in female, and in girls ovaries are also acting as endocrine glands which help in the production of a hormone called as estrogen. Ovaries help in the production of estrogen, and testes help in the production of hormone called as testosterone. Under the influence of these hormones only, the testes and ovaries help in producing the gametes, respective gametes. In testes they produce male gametes, and in ovaries they produce female gametes. So that's how these characters determine the or differentiates the male from the female. That's why we call these characters as secondary sexual characteristics. Okay. Now we will learn about what is menstrual cycle. This menstrual cycle occurs only in females. In females, the reproductive age starts at puberty and continues to approximately 45 to 50 years of age. During this period, one of the two ovaries produces an egg. One of the two ovaries produces an egg, or we call it as ovum, every 28 to 30 days. This process is known as ovulation. What is ovulation? I explain one more time. The process of releasing of egg by any one of the ovaries in a month is called ovulation. That means one ovary will release one egg in a month. That process of releasing of egg or ovum by any one of the ovaries in a month, that is 28 to 30 days period, that process is called as ovulation. That means eggs will produce after 28 to 30 days. If this month one of the ovary has functioned in producing the egg, the next month, that is after 28 to 30 days, the second ovary starts functioning and it releases the egg. So both the ovaries will not release the egg together. So what is the meaning of ovulation? Ovulation is nothing but release of egg by the ovary in a month. That process is called as ovulation. During this period, during the process of ovulation, the walls of the uterus, if you remember the reproductive system, female reproductive system consists of two ovaries and two tube-like structures called as fallopian tubes, or we call it as oviduct, and that oviducts are connected to muscular bag-like structure called as uterus. The female reproductive system, if you recall, it consists of two ovaries, two oviducts. Oviducts are also called as fallopian tubes, and these fallopian tubes are ending in a bag-like structure called as uterus. So during the period of ovulation, what happens? The walls of the uterus will become thick. The walls of the uterus will become thick and it will receive the egg released by any one of the ovaries. If the egg happens to get fertilized, if the egg meets the sperm after ovulation, the process that may occur is called as fertilization. At that time, it results in pregnancy. And that fertilized egg or zygote starts developing into embryo, and that embryo will get embedded in the wall of the uterus for further development of that embryo into a complete offspring or complete individual. Now the second condition I am telling, if fertilization does not occur, then what happens to the egg released by the ovary? This egg has to be removed from the body. Then how it is removed? That is a question. You can listen now. If fertilization does not occur, the egg and the lining of the uterus means the uterus wall, which was totally thick, that thick wall of the uterus will shed, it will break, and a new wall will be formed in the coming month. So that when the wall of the uterus breaks, the blood capillaries which are attached to that wall, to the cells of the wall, also will break, and it results in bleeding. That process, bleeding takes place. So along with the bleeding, the egg is also released out of the body. This bleeding lasts for 4 to 6 days, and this process is known as menstruation. This process is known as menstruation, or we call it as menstrual period. The first menstrual flow that begins at puberty is called as menarche. You must have come across this phenomena in the girls. You must have heard the child has matured, we say, the girl has matured. Generally we say that matured is nothing but, in biology we call it as menarche. So menarche means the first menstrual flow has taken place in the female body. It can be at the age of 10, it can be at the age of 11, depends on person to person's individual body. So it will be occurring between the age of 10 to 15 years. Generally 10 to 13 years is common. Sometimes in some girls it may be little late also. So the first menstrual flow is called as menarche. That means first egg released by the ovary, and that egg is not fertilized. It has to go out of the body along with the blood. That blood comes out from the lining of the uterus. So that's how the process of menstrual flow starts, and that beginning of menstrual flow, first menstrual flow, is called as menarche. The periods may be in the beginning, the menstrual flow may be irregular initially but become regular after some time. So every month immediately the menstrual flow will not become systematic. Generally menstrual flow takes place after every 28 to 30 days. In the beginning that periods may be irregular. Later on it becomes regular. The cycle of producing and releasing a mature egg, the thickening of the uterus wall, and its shedding if fertilization does not occur, that complete cycle is called as menstrual cycle. Once more I repeat, the cycle of producing and releasing a mature egg, the thickening of the uterus wall, and its shedding if fertilization does not occur, then only this process we call it as menstrual cycle. If fertilization occurs, there will be no menstrual cycle. For that 9 months, there will be no menstruation in the female body. Once the fertilized egg starts developing in the uterus, for 9 to 10 months, the female will not have menstruation. At around 45 to 50 years of age, the menstrual cycle will stop and the female is no longer able to reproduce. That stage is called as menopause. Menopause means at the age of 45 to 50, the menstrual cycle will stop. That means ovaries stop functioning and releasing of egg by the ovaries will not take place after 45 to 50 years of age. That stage is called as menopause. Menopause is the menstrual cycle, stopping of menstrual cycle. It differs from individual to individual. Sometimes some ladies after 40, 41, 42, some people even after 50, 51, 52 years also, the menstruation will continue and it will stop. Generally average is 45 to 50 years of age, menstruation stops, and later on that lady is unable to reproduce because of no development of or no production of eggs. So no eggs, there will be no fertilization. So there is no chance of reproduction in that female body once menstruation stops. That is, menopause occurs. I mean to say menstruation stops means total stopping of menstruation in one's lifetime is called as menopause. So I think you understood what is menstrual cycle. It occurs only in female body. I have explained in detail, and you can go through your textbook one more time to understand it better. Okay children, thank you.